So what we're tying up today here is a little pattern we like to call the Dicken's Midge, and it's a little variation on a Palomino or a Willie's Pip midge, which are an extended body midge tied with either typically floss or maybe a new dub material. And what we've done here is we've substituted in some materials. We're using red Spanflex, some pearl crystal flash, a little bit of peacock herl, some glass beads, extra small, in this case silver. You can use white as well. White works really well. And then some scud hooks. Today we're going to use a size 20. You can tie these anywhere from a 16 on down to a 24. And the first trick with this fly is getting a glass bead onto the hook. And what we recommend doing is pre-beading all of your hooks before you start tying these things so that you don't have to fumble around every time with the glass beads in this small hook. Another tip is to just simply wet your finger, get a little bit of saliva on there. That gives you a little bit easier surface to work with those small glass beads. So anyway, we'll start our thread here, which is going to be red. You can either use 6/0 or 8/0. You can start that right behind your glass bead. And you're going to go back about a quarter of the way on this hook. You don't need to go back half or all the way, because this is an extended body pattern that's going to extend out over the back of the hook. The next key here, save yourself a lot of heartache and frustration, is to get yourself a pair of rotating hackle pliers. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cut off a strand of crystal flash and we're going to cut off a strand of Spanflex here. And we're going to take these two strands of material and we are going to rotate them onto themselves, basically. And using a pair of rotating hackle pliers makes this way easier. So you hold it at one end, and then you simply take your rotating hackle pliers and you just rotate this stuff up until you almost get a candy cane effect of that crystal flash on that Spanflex. And then what you do is you allow a piece of this to rotate back on top of itself. And once you've done that, you can kind of pinch that piece so that it doesn't come unwound. Transfer that here over to your hook. And you're going to tie this in right where you stopped your thread. Like I said, about a quarter of the way behind that bead. You want to make sure you get a few good thread wraps over the top of this stuff here so that it stays in place. And the length of that body will vary. If it looks too long to you, you can always come in, pinch it to about where you want it, come back, shorten it up a little bit, and tie that down again. So all is not lost if you think your body is too long. You want to trim off that material in front there. A good pair of scissors will help here. The next thing you need is a little bit of peacock herl. One strand is all we need. Tie that in behind the glass bead. Take it back to about the same point where you tied in your body. And we're simply going to rotate that piece of peacock herl here for the head. Just palmering that forward. Take that right up behind the glass bead. And we're going to tie that off here. And a good trick with peacock herl is to run your thread back through that peacock herl a couple of times. You would think that that would mat it down, but it actually doesn't. What it does is it just reinforces that herl a little bit. Now you can whip finish this fly and apply a drop of Flex Seal. And really recommend Flex Seal when working with peacock herl versus your standard head cements, because your standard head cements tend to gum up peacock herl, whereas Flex Seal won't. So trim that, grab a little bit of this Flex Seal here, drop that in right over your peacock herl and on your thread. Make sure you don't get any stuck in the eye. And there you are, the Dicken's Midge.